The bullets stitched the water like needles. A Japanese fighter banked, circling back. On a sun-baked raft, a starved runner lifted his head and hissed, "Not today." Sharks bumped rubber. The Pacific gaped. Somewhere beneath the glare, Louis Zamperini refused to die. He started as a ghost in back alleys, barefoot, quick, trouble clinging like dust. In Torrance, the immigrant kid learned to disappear under fences and into shadows. Then an older brother grabbed his collar and said, "Run. Run before the world closes its fist." Pete made the sidewalk his track, the kitchen clock his starter pistol. He hammered discipline into speed, stitched hope into lungs. Louis discovered a new crime, stealing seconds. On the cinder oval, he flew until the bleachers rose like a tide and roared. Records fell like dry leaves. The mile bent to his will, 4:21, while the Great Depression thinned wallets and thickened resolve. Reporters began to learn his name. Louis, the once invisible boy, now ran where everyone could see, and they cheered. USC called him to the Coliseum, where concrete echoed history. Scholarship stitched his hunger to a future. He learned to stretch pain until it snapped first. Gliding past the peristyle, he felt it. Speed could be a passport, even in a storming world.
He crossed the Atlantic on a ship smelling of coal and hope. Berlin rose with flags and fanfare, a stage polished for perfection and hiding something sour beneath. The 5,000 meters waited, and somewhere in a box, a dictator watched with cold interest. The gun cracked. He fell behind, then on the final lap, detonated. 56 seconds, a blur devouring space. The race ended, and a messenger ushered him up. A handshake, an icy smile. "The boy with the fast finish," Adolf Hitler reportedly said. War rolled like thunder. The 1940 games vanished into smoke. Louis traded singlets for khaki and wings, swearing to ride speed into the sky. In photographs, his grin stayed bright. In briefings, new numbers replaced lap splits, altitude, payload, miles to target. The B-24 was a stubborn beast, an anvil with wings. He became its bombardier, sighting steel on distant shapes. Hawaii's palms swayed beyond revetments while engines coughed awake. The war was blue water and green islands and sudden fire. Missions stitched across the map, funeral black smoke columns blooming on horizons. One battered plane limped home resembling a sieve. They called it Superman. Luck, like fuel, drains. When a search flight needed a crew, Louis climbed aboard Green Hornet. Engines sputtered. One died, then another. The sea rose to meet them. Impact shattered aluminum. Silence swallowed. 3 figures surfaced amid wreckage. Louis, pilot Russell Allen Phillips, and Francis McNamara, alone with sun, salt, and unthinkable miles.
Hunger took language first, then patience. They teased fish with threads from clothing, snared an albatross, gagged it down, turned wings into bait. Rain arrived like mercy in tin cups of palms, brought celestial maps and colder doubts. The bird specialized in humiliation as ritual. He cued beatings to music only he could hear, selecting Louis often, as if breaking a famous runner would tune the camp to his will. Each blow measured out a new vow. I will not vanish. A producer's voice sweetened the airwaves. A comfortable studio, a hot bath, a full bowl, if Louis became a mouthpiece. He read a harmless message once, heard the trap spring, and refused the rest. Comfort departed. Pain waited like weather. Punishment was transfer. Nyotsu, a labor camp bruised by river wind and snow. Coal dust and winter ash coated lungs. The bird reappeared, as if distance were just another leash. Work the barges, carry sacks until shoulders forget their names. Illness tried to fold him. Hunger tried to thin him until he could be filed away. Every dawn he took stock. Breath, bones, will. He found a stubborn ember in each. The bird paced, looking for a gust strong enough to put that ember out. One noon, the bird ordered a test. "Lift that beam," he hissed, "and hold it overhead. Drop it and you die." Louis shouldered the timber, legs quaking, world narrowing to splinters and breath. Minutes became myth. When the beam didn't fall, the bird broke.
And struck him down. But something had inverted. The camp saw a man refuse collapse. August crept in with rumors riding the wind. New bombs, new fires, a silence after storms. The bird vanished into that silence. Surrender rippled across fences. Allied planes wrote salvation into the sky. Packages bloomed under parachutes. Milk cans, chocolate, medicine. Emaciated men laughed until sound broke. A train groaned south. A ship pushed east. Home was a station platform where everyone looked older, even the sun. Freedom can be a maze. Nightmares arrived like clockwork. Whiskey blurred their edges. Cynthia tried to love him through storms. He woke with a fist around a ghost's throat. The bird still lived inside his head, rent unpaid, doors locked from within. A canvas tent went up in downtown Los Angeles. Inside, a young preacher spoke of surrender and second chances. Louis remembered a pact he'd made on a raft with an invisible listener. He stood, walked forward, and set down a rage he no longer wanted. That night, he dumped liquor into the sink and slept without war. The next day, he wrote forgiveness like a letter, to guards he could name and those he couldn't. The bird would not answer, but Louis didn't need his reply to close the wound. He returned to Japan, not as a prisoner, but a witness. In prison yards and offices, he looked men in the eye and pardoned them. Some cried, some couldn't meet his gaze. He sent the bird a letter of forgiveness. Silence answered, which was enough. He built a camp in the mountains, a place where boys with tempers like his could break them on lakes and ropes, then mend them with purpose. Canoes stitched across dawn water, laughter echoed off pines. The track had become a river of second chances. Years later, he carried the Olympic torch near the old camp at Noitsu, flame mirrored in winter air. A book told his story. A film beamed it wider. But the truest scene remained small. One heartbeat deciding not to hate, and then deciding again.